All right, so now that we got our project set up, again, in reality, you would be out in the field, you would be physically locating this. I'm just using this background map as a guide so that we can collect some somewhat realistic data using the emulator. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start collecting data. Now I haven't connected to my recording device yet, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on this icon here, and it's going to ask me to connect to a positioning device. So I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to use the GNSS. I'm going to set up my rover, my emulator. I'm not going to use tilt compensation. And your antenna height may be set to, I'm going to leave it set to 2 meters, all right? And I'm going to click accept, and I want to show you why I'm doing that. Here, because typically that's what you would use, right? You would have the right proper rod height, so you're collecting data with the right elevation. I'm not going to do this now, but normally you would do that out in the field. And same thing, you'd want to do a check and recheck your system setup. I'm going to say no, but typically you should, and it's recommended to always check into something. So when I now that I'm connected and I can click here on my screen of walking around my site, so kind of let's say we parked over here, get out of my truck, and I'm going to kind of walk over to where I'm going to start collecting, which is up in this corner. You'll notice that my elevation is coming in, and I need to fill about 6 feet, which is my rod height. So I'm going to click on the antenna height, and I'm just going to set that to 0 for this demonstration or this training. So now you can see I'm at 0. So I'm theoretically collecting the project, and it was built in the right location with the right elevation, and I'm good to go, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in down here, and I'm going to collect this curb line first. So I'm going to start at the end. I'm going to put my pole and tip at the end of the curb here. And I'm going to measure. Now, before I click on measure, though, I'm going to go up to the FXL, and I'm going to choose the type of curb this is, or the type of feature. In this case, it's my 1B curb. You'll notice I get some other icons here. We'll talk about those in a second. That first point. Now, you'll notice that it came in with this grid on it, and I'm going to go to my settings and my display settings. And what I'm going to do is, that's like a 10 by 10 grid. I can make it smaller, but I'm actually just going to turn it off. I don't need to see it. So we'll accept it. Again, I don't need to see it for what I'm doing here for the line work. So now I can walk around. You can see that it's going to rubber band off of that point. So I'm just going to walk down the line, and I'm going to, get on the edge of the curb at the flow line, and I'm going to keep that the way it is. You're not touching that. I'm just going to measure another point. Now I'm actually going into a curve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change and click on this icon, which puts me into a curve. So then I'm going to collect some points along the curve. I'm going to probably pick up 3 or more would be recommended. And I'm going to pick up that point at where that sidewalk comes down. So again, this is stuff out in the field that you're looking at, of course. And you're looking at highs and low spots. So again, you're doing a topo, so you want to make sure you pick the proper location. So I'm just going to grab one more here. And then it looks like we come out of the curve at this spot here. So this is our PT. I'm going to uncheck the curve icon, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to locate that last spot. So I've located that curb line. Now, I could switch and go to a different feature, like maybe the sidewalk. But what I want to do is I'm just going to kind of keep on the curb option here, and I got more 1B. Now, if I move over here, what I want to show you is that it's going to continue that line. Now, I don't want to continue that line. I want to stop that one and start this one. So all you have to do is you can either click on this and start a new line. It's actually going to increment the curb number. Or you can just uncheck the feature code, recheck the feature code, and you can see that it stops that one. You're starting a new one, and I'm going to measure that point. Then I'm going to come over here. Same thing. I'm going to measure a point there. I'm going to go into my curve, where I'm going to click a point here, and we'll click a point here. So on this one, a 3-point curve is probably good based on the radius. If you got a large radius, you probably want to have more points. Now, I'm going to come down. You see if I scroll out, I can come all the way down to the end. But again, if I'm doing topo, I know that there may be some lows and highs in here. So it's kind of hard to see in the emulator, but I'm just going to say that as I'm going down, I got to come out of my curve, right? So that's my PT. I'm going to make sure I turn off the curve. I'm going to come down to maybe where there's a drop inlet, and I'm going to locate that low spot. And then maybe down here, there's a high point. I'm going to locate that one. And then I'm going to come and we're going to pick up this point right here. So again, you may or may not, you're going to, usually when you're walking down a string like this, you want to do it every like 25 feet. That's going to give you a nice cross section. But if you're just interested in line work and you don't care about topo, then you could go from one end to the other. All right, but I am a little bit, I want to know my volumes. I want to make sure that my grades, are accurate and stuff. So again, I'm coming into the curve. That's my PC. So now I'm going to pick the midpoint or point on curve. And then I'm going to come down here and we're going to locate that one. Now I'm going to toggle that off again. And same thing like I did above. I can come down here. I want to toggle off the 1B and toggle the 1B back on. Locate that point. And then I'm going to come over here and it looks like that one is right about there. So I'm going to locate that. So now what I can do is, because I'm ending that one there, if I switch to this 1A, which is what I'm picking up through here, then I'm just going to, where I'm standing, I'm just going to move over like, like 1/10 of an inch, or 1/10 of a foot, right? Just enough so that I'm not exactly on the exact same point, but I'm starting a new line just a little bit over, right? Because again, I'm just going to get the amount, my precision just has to be to the foot or half a foot. I'm not concerned about 1/10 or so, because again, from an as-built standpoint, I just want to know how many linear feet of curb type I've installed. So I'm going to end the video here and I'm going to pick up with a new video where we're going to locate the 1A curb around the rest of this, just to keep these videos short.